nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
On my right is newly elected Commissioner Aaron Mays, and on my right, well, that was on my left. On my right, that was a moment. On my right is newly elected Commissioner Kevin Cook. So. And I'm Bill Rippon, not newly elected. I represent District 1. It's November 5th, 2020, Shawnee County Board of County Commissioners. Madam Clerk, what's first on the agenda?
First item is item 3, consent agenda.
I would move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item 4, new business. A, County Clerk number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Commissioners, this morning we have 2 voucher payments. The first voucher payment is for $889,481.95. The highlight out of that voucher report, the highest expenditures was Capers contributions to our employees, $342,258.95, followed by the holding accounts for the state of Kansas, $228,073.01, and then also under Parks and Recreation, $114,683.38. Finally, under Public Works, we had Build X at $71,715.33. The majority of that was for CY of Haydite asphalt payment. I do not have any questions regarding that voucher report. The second voucher was for $46,978.75. That was our CARES Relief Fund, and that went to Family Service and Guidance Center. I do not have any questions regarding the vouchers. Would move for their approval.
Second. Okay. Motion made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Okay, we are on item A2 is the correction orders, and Commissioners, we are back to correction orders. My office certified to the county treasurer for the new tax roll on the 3rd. So we let the appraiser's office get back in the system so they can do correction orders again. So I want you to please consider approval of our correction orders.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item B, County Councilor number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C-455-2020 through contract C-458-2020, change orders number 9 through 12 to contract C-150-2019 with McCowan Gordon Construction for items relating to the Stormont Vale Event Center's renovation project, totaling $167,467, utilizing contingency funds set aside for the project.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jim Kraus, Shawnee County Councilor. We're going from correction orders to change orders on this item. We've got 4 of them this morning for the Stormont Vale Event Center project. Very quickly, I want to explain what each one is. First, we have change order number 9 on the project. That's for $42,156, and that is to add wireless access points, additional ones in the new section of the expanded exhibition hall. Let's see if I can operate this. Change order number 10 is simply a weather day extension, even though that's probably not going to impact at all the actual completion date on the contract. We still track those for the contract purposes. Change order number 11 adds, let's see, it's in 2 subparts. The total is $97,077. These are to add some items. It looks like, I believe this one is the snow screen. Yes, it's a snow screen on the roof. It helps collect snow and helps with the roof so it doesn't get too much weight on it during snow events. And the other one is tape for when they're putting the new outside, when they're wrapping the outside of the building. This is a type of self-sealing tape so that when you drill through it, it seals the material so that you don't get water in through the places where you drill on the project. And then the final one is for $28,234, and that's to replace existing ceiling acoustical tile in existing exhibition hall. It's one of those items sort of like the bathroom floors. Once we renovated the space, we noticed that old tile that was discolored was on the ceiling, so we're going to replace those to make it fresh and match the new space. So I'll be happy to answer any questions about those 4 change orders.
Any questions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Jim, the total cost of the Expo Center or Stormont Vale Event Center renovations, these change orders, are we exceeding the cost that we have previously established, or is this as the result of having found some savings, we're able to go in and do these additional things?
Both, and we have found substantial savings in a number of places that we've put back into the project. You'll note that on the change order document itself, it gives you the original contract price and then what happens after the change order. So we are increasing it, but we're increasing it using contingency funds that we've had all along on the project. And what this really means is great news for the project. It means that we're now able to release those contingency funds and start spending them on things like expanding the wireless access points, replacing old ceiling tiles, because now we're comfortable with where we're at in the project, money-wise, with our contingencies to be able to go ahead and release those and spend them on the project.
But I think that it's important then to highlight that we are not over budget. These change orders are not putting the project over budget.
No, this is great news. We are on budget, and we are spending contingency funds that we didn't have to spend because we didn't run into unknown expensive items that you could run into on projects. So we've been very lucky in that respect that we didn't run into any severely expensive unknown issues underground, for example, that would have used up this money.
Thank you.
Jim, you mentioned we probably wouldn't, the weather days probably wouldn't play into this project. How far ahead on schedule are we at this point?
Well, the official completion date is May of 2021. You know, officially, I think McCown Gordon will tell you they're comfortable that they'll be done by April. I think unofficially they're going to be done sooner than that, at least by March. And we're just really now into weather contingent for the rest of it, but it's probably going to be April or March when we're completed. We will be ahead of schedule, 1 or 2 months.
Okay, thank you. I will move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Jim.
Item B2, the Administrative Review Committee requests the following actions. A, report of the Administrative Review Committee November 2nd, 2020 be accepted. And B, the tax exemption request by Reese's Fine Foods, Inc. be scheduled for a public hearing on Monday, November 23rd, 2020.
Good morning, Commissioners. Ashley Biegert, Assistant County Counselor and Chair of the Administrative Review Committee. As you're aware, the Kansas Constitution and state law provides a mechanism for counties to create procedures to exempt certain property for economic development. Shawnee County has those procedures in place through County Resolution 2002-9. And in accordance with those procedures, Reese's Fine Foods submitted an application for a tax exemption for a rebuild of their 10th Street location for the purpose of manufacturing baked side dishes. The Administrative Review Committee met with Resource earlier this week, and as a result of that meeting, the committee is recommending to the board a 10-year 100% tax exemption on the rebuild. Today, the committee is just asking the board do two things. One, accept accept the committee's report, not necessarily adopt its findings, but just acknowledge the report. And two, set this matter for a public hearing on November 23rd, at which time Resource Fine Foods will be here to provide more information about the project, and you will be able to consider the exemption at that time. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
I would move to accept the report and set the public hearing as indicated.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Ashley.
Ashley. Next item.
Item C, Register of Deeds number 1, consider approval of request to transfer $100,000 from the Register of Deeds Technology Fund to the Land Records Fund.
Good morning, Commissioners. Becky Neosi, Register of Deeds. The Technology Fund is $2 per page approximate for most documents that come into our office. This is our annual transfer of excess funds when there's more than $50,000 in a calendar year that can be transferred to be used for equipment or technological services relating to land or property records in the county. So we have set up a process so these can be transferred in advance. So these will actually be for the year 2022. They'll be prioritized for that year. And we have a committee that reviews the requests. We'll accept those until February 15th of 2021. And then we'll come to you in the spring to approve those so they can be on the budgets for the following year. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item D, Corrections number 1, consider approval of request to post and fill the following positions in the Community Corrections Agency with funding from the fiscal year 2021 budget. A, Program Specialist position at an estimated salary including benefits of $67,886. B, 3 new and 1 vacant Intensive Supervision Officers positions at an estimated salaries including benefits of $62,998 each.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Cole, Shawnee County Department of Corrections. This is a community corrections item. The Board of County Commissioners was very gracious in us working with Betty Greiner to be able to put this in our budget for 2021. I know it's a little early, but what we're asking is to be able to fill a vacant position and then be able to get a jump start on being able to hire these. And we would not hire these new positions till 2021. We know we're getting into the holiday seasons. We have a lot of meetings coming up, things like that, and I'm sure there's going to be maybe possibility of commission meetings being canceled and stuff like that with canvases and stuff like that. We just want to be able to get this on here and be able to do this. The reason we're asking for this is because of the caseloads, and that was the reason we asked for the additional money to community corrections. Right now, our adult is ranging up closely to 80 to 90 person caseload, which is extremely high, one of the highest, if not the highest, in Kansas. We have a statutory obligation to be able to fulfill this, and it is a valuable need to our community. The program specialist allows us to be able to expand our programmability and capabilities to the customers and the clients we do serve. There is a big need for re-entry and being able to keep these our clients in the community rather than seeing the costly issues when it comes to incarceration. So we do see a value in being able to do these with this position, and I think it's a long time coming that we decided to be able to do this. And again, we're very gracious, and thank you to the commissioners for approving the money. We just would like to get a jump start, but we would not hire these new positions till 2021. I stand for any questions you may have.
Any questions?
No. I would move for approval.
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Next item.
Item D2, consider approval of request to purchase 54 800 megahertz radios and supporting equipment using the state of Kansas contract pricing at a cost of $113,365.44 with funding from the department's current operational budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Eve Kendall, Department of Corrections. We've been trying to replace all of our handheld radios since 2016. We originally received our 800 megahertz radios from the Sheriff's Agency, and then we've been slowly trying to upgrade those because Motorola is no longer going to support them at the end of this year. We've been trying, it was in our strategic plan that we replace 50 to 60 a year. That hasn't always happened due to other expenditures that we've needed to take care of. We are sitting here now almost at the end of the year, and we know we need to get this done just for our own comfort and making sure that we have the best equipment that we can have to support our safety and security mission. So we are here asking if we can replace the final 54 that we have that we need to replace. We will be able to take this from our current 2020 budget with your approval.
Any questions?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Eve.
Thank you, sirs.
Next item.
Item E, Public Works. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of Contract C-459 and Contract C-460, 2020, 459, 2020, and 460, 2020, with Monmouth Township relating to the tilt trailer and compact excavator purchased by the township and operated by the Shawnee County Public Works.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kurt Niehaus, Director of Public Works. Presently, Monmouth Township has 3 pieces of equipment and 2 positions. The equipment is owned by Monmouth Township, but it's operated by Shawnee County. Routine maintenance is performed by Shawnee County, but essentially all costs of ownership of this equipment is paid for by Monmouth Township. I'm before you now because Monmouth Township is requesting the purchase of 2 additional pieces of equipment, a tilt trailer and a compact excavator. Again, the township owns it, the county operates it, either directly or indirectly. All costs associated with ownership, including fuel, routine maintenance, insurance, will be paid for by Monmouth Township. The only time Shawnee County will be on the hook is if we do not perform routine maintenance, I call that neglect, or if we operate the equipment wrongly, which I would call negligence. That would be the only time the county would be on the hook. With that, I look forward to your questions.
Any questions? I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. Next item.
Item F, Emergency Management. Number 1, consider approval of request to award bid to National Business Furniture in the amount of $15,619.10 to be paid from the Rural EOC Enhancement Grant Program to help enhance the Emergency Operations Center's connectivity, communications, and mitigation protective measures in response to COVID-19.
Good morning, Commissioners. Aaron Mahan with Emergency Management. This is in regards to the Rural EOC Enhancement Grant that is administered by the Kansas Department of Emergency Management. It was offered to Shawnee County Emergency Management, and you approved us to receive those funds. It is a no-match grant. However, there are reporting requirements that we're currently taking care of. We did go out for bids on furniture and office fixtures in order to improve the operations section of the Emergency Operations Center. This includes desks and some monitors, chairs, filing cabinets, in order to increase being comfortable down there. We do spend a lot of time at desks. We do spend a lot of time situational awareness through the internet and through the web EOC through KDM. It also improves social distancing when other people come into the operations office, and we can also improve those communications. We did get bids back that were sent out, and with that cost of $15,619.10, we are able to fully outfit the operations office with new office fixtures and needed. I'll stand for your questions.
Any questions?
I'll move for approval.
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item F2, consider approval of request to award bid to Hollisil International in the amount of $25,773 for device tools and systems to provide rapid and effective decontamination if needed due to COVID-19 to be paid from CARES Act funding.
Aaron Mahan, Shawnee County Emergency Management. On September 21st, we were approved to go out for bids on a machine that would aerosolize inside of a room that is potentially infected or contaminated with the COVID virus. We did form a committee in order to come up with a standard set of questions that we wanted to ask those manufacturers and producers as to make sure that that instrument would do exactly what we needed it to do in the most safe and efficient manner. Those persons were made up from the EOC staff, from the health department, and from the district court section, and from the sheriff's office. We formulated a list of questions and sent those out to several different manufacturers, and we received several bids back. We then used that same selection committee to go through those bids and determine the most efficient and effective use of those Spark Care funds in order to purchase instruments. With the funds that are available, we will be able to purchase 2 of them. There will be a larger one and then a fairly smaller one that can be used for smaller spaces. So we're not wasting time using the large machine on a very small area. We did get those bids back, and the one that we selected is from Hollisil International for $25,773. It does include all shipping, handling, training, the warranty information. We will be training several people on how to operate this instrument, and I would stand for any questions you may have.
How does this instrument work? What does it do?
There's material that goes inside of the instrument itself. There's a liquid, and then there's a tablet that is a disinfecting tablet. It goes into the machine, and then this machine aerosolizes it, much like a moisturizing machine would do, or a vaporizer for one that you would put in your house.
Okay. Any other questions?
No.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item, thank you, Aaron.
Item G, Parks and Recreation. Number 1, consider approval of request to repurpose 2 vacant positions and request to fill the following positions. A, natural areas steward at a salary including benefits of $56,451.20. B, account clerk 1 at a salary including benefits of $39,332.80. In addition, request to fill any subsequent positions which become vacant from filling these positions.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Laurent, Shawnee County Parks and Recreation. Yeah, I'm here today to ask to repurpose 2 of our vacant positions. Natural stewards position, natural areas steward would obviously work in our natural areas, and you ask, what is that? That's our trails, our Shawnee Lake, all of our bodies of water. This person would work alongside Tom Hammer in that division, which we feel like is a little understaffed at this point. So, and then the second position is the account clerk 1. That would assist our account clerk 3, would eliminate the need for intermittent staff. So we would only have full-time staff dealing with our financials. We think we can be a little bit more efficient, find some efficiencies there, and that person would also provide some basic clerical duties. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Mr. Cook.
We're closing out 2 vacant positions. What are the positions we're closing out?
I don't know that right now, honestly. I actually sent a text while I was sitting here, and I may have that before we leave today. I didn't have that in my notes, so I can let you know here, hopefully in a minute.
Any other questions?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you, Commissioner Cook. That was one of the vacant position was a recreation program coordinator, and we've hired another position there and consolidated, so we didn't need that one any further. And the other one was a system analyst, which I believe was in the IT vein that we have not had for many years, is my understanding. So,
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Next item.
Item G2, consider approval of request to solicit bids for the replacement of the Lake Shawnee garden house decking, railings, and possibly infrastructure with an estimated cost of $57,780 with funding from the Park Services operation budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Randy Luby, Parks and Recreation. We're requesting to go out for bid for the deck at our Lake Shawnee garden house. This is one of our premier rental facilities. It's roughly 25 years old with the original deck, and we've done repairs on it over the last several years, but it's really time to put a whole new one on. As I mentioned, this is one of our most popular rental facilities, and largely is due to because of the deck, two-tier deck in the back. We estimate annually we bring in $30,000 to $35,000 a year on rentals. Be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Is this the original deck?
I believe it is.
Oh, gee.
To all my knowledge, it is, Bill.
What type of material are we going back with?
It's going to be wood. We looked into the composite, but it was about 2.5 times the price, so we're going back to wood.
Okay. I move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Randy. Next item.
Item G3, consider approval of request to solicit bids for renovations to selected facilities roofs over the next 4 years from the roof replacement schedule, with funding stipulated to each as each project is proposed for awarding vendor and agreement.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Boyd, Parks and Recreation. We are seeking approval to go out for roof bids over the next 4 years. We've put together this schedule based on several things. The current condition of the larger roofs, the number of service calls that we've had as far as leaks and issues with that sort of thing. So the list is somewhat flexible. If something deteriorates ahead of time, we can kind of shift that around, but we just wanted to be able to have the ability to go out for bid and have the specs ready to go over the next 4 years. But we would bring each bid result back to you for approval.
So will this bid be for, like at Old Prairie Town, we use a lot of shake shingles. Would there be a line for that, or is it membrane roofs, or is it?
Actually, yeah, there would be several. We would just write the specs for each particular application, like for the mansion at Old Prairie Town. We would have the shake shingles there, membrane roofs on the centers.
The asphalt shingle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Thank you, gentlemen. Next item.
Item H, Health Department. Number 1, consider approval of request for the Health Department to enroll in the Centers for Disease Control COVID-19 vaccination program and authorization and execution of contract C 2020- I don't have a number. Is it just, okay, never mind. Execution of a contract, COVID-19 vaccination program provider agreement.
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda Oakes from the Health Department. This is the first step in the Health Department becoming a provider of vaccine for the COVID-19 pandemic. I do want to say there's no vaccine yet, so I don't want everyone to get excited. This is just the registration for us to become a provider. We're already a provider for the Vaccine for Children program through the KDHE and the CDC, so this is just us doing the paperwork so we can provide that vaccine. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
You have any questions?
Move for approval.
Second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Next item.
Item I, Stormont Valley Event Center. Number 1, consider approval of the bid and the authority to enter into a contract with CEIA USA for walk-through metal detection and thermal detection systems at a total cost of $64,653.05 with funding from allocated coronavirus relief funds.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kellen Seitz, Spectre Venue Management in the Stormont Vale Event Center. The request before you today is an additional piece of our COVID-19 preventative funding and relief funding. The units that we are talking about in this bid are walk-through metal detection units that cut down on physical contact with patrons coming into the building. Upon receiving those bids for the walk-through metal detection units, we asked for additional approval from the Sparks Committee as well as Witt O'Brien for an additional piece of infrastructure that would be a direct fit onto those metal detection units, and those would be thermal detection scanners that mount directly onto those. So that way we can get an accurate temperature reading of any of the patrons coming through the facilities. These units are all mobile units. They come with a caster system. We can take them to any of the facilities on our campus and clearly and accurately give correct readings of how many people are going through the units, as well as temperature screenings when they do so. I will state, however, the additional thermal detection unit is coming back from Witt O'Brien. I talked to them on Tuesday. We submitted that back to them last week. We do feel it's going to be approved based on the conversations we've had, so the additional thermal detection units would be contingent upon Witt O'Brien's approval of that.
Kellen, maybe you said this and I missed it, but how many units is this going to be for again?
This would be for 10 units.
10, okay.
That would allow us for unit placement, multiple unit placement at our main entries, as well as single unit placement at some of our slower entries or our back of house entries.
Do you think this is going to speed things up quite a bit?
Significantly, yeah.
If someone is found to have a temperature, what will be the procedure then?
Well, right now, with our Spectra reopening policies, we are not temperature screening patrons that come into the facility. We do feel like this is something we will change in our reopening policy now that we have the ability to utilize infrastructure that gets patrons through a lot quicker. In that event, when we come back to you for approval of that, the process will be the exact same as it is now for our employees, for promoters, for participants and patrons of events where if they have a temperature reading of higher than 100.4, they are not allowed entry into that facility.
Yes.
Is this only going to be in Landon Arena events?
We could utilize this infrastructure at any of the facilities on campus, so Dome Arena, Exhibition Hall, Landon, Heritage Hall, and Ag Hall.
But it seems like currently the only time anyone ever really goes through security is for an event in Landon. I don't think I've ever been to an Exhibition Hall event where people are going through metal detectors. Is that?
We would like that. We haven't done that. We do a significant amount of bag checks for events that take place in Exhibition Hall. Typically, traditionally, what we have done is utilize those security measures in Landon Arena for our larger events, but it is something that we would like to deploy at every facility if possible.
Okay.
Yeah, so these things are pretty portable. You can move them around from.
Correct. Yeah, they have two different sets of casters on them. There's a long-range caster system that allows us to travel distances from, like Landon Arena up to Ag Hall, and then there's a short throw caster system on the bottom where you can move them upright in place, either around concourse areas or different entries inside the same facility.
Okay. Any questions?
No, I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Kellen. Next item.
Item I2, consider approval of request to award bid to Shergill Signs in the amount of $49,171.66 for the new exterior building rights naming sign utilizing the Stormont Vale Event Center sponsorship allowance account and authorization and execution of this sales agreement, contract C461-2020 for same.
Good morning, Commissioners. Again, Kellen, Site Inspector, Venue Management, Stormont Vale Event Center. This request is for the new naming rights sign that will go on the eastern-facing side of Landon Arena, directed out towards Topeka Boulevard. This sign would be a 70-foot or 75-foot in length, 14-foot in height, backlit individual letter LED sign for Stormont Vale Event Center with the new logo and placement on the facility. As part of this contract with our naming rights partner at Stormont Vale Event Center, they did provide an allowance account of $75,000 to go towards signage funding. We are requesting the utilization of the monies for this sign to come out of that holding account. We did go out to bid with 3 separate vendors on this project, one of them a national partner that we work with at Spectra, and 2 localized companies. We did select one of the localized companies, which is Shirley Signs out of Lawrence. They have done a significant amount of work in the Topeka and Shawnee County area, as well as our surrounding communities and surrounding counties.
Any questions?
Nope.
I'll
Move to approve.
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner May, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next item.
Item 5, Administrative Communications.
Okay. Anyone who'd like to speak at this time?
Good morning, Commissioners. Andrew Howell, Shawnee County Election Commissioner. I just wanted to give you an update and a few comments as well on the elections. Overall, I feel like our elections went very well here. I spent a lot of time, as did Mark Stock and a number of people in our office, out visiting polling places, making sure that everything was working correctly. I felt like the day went very well. One of the interesting things to me is we had as many as 50% brand new people at a lot of our polling places on election day. So all things considered, especially that when you've got election judges making sure that half of their people are doing it correctly and training and doing a lot of additional work, I really felt very good about how it went at our polling places. We had a small line at a couple of places early, but that's not unexpected, and most of those places that I saw at least were through in about 10 minutes or so. So I thought that was a good sign. Election day turnout, I expect will end up somewhere near 75%, which I think is a significant turnout. Just a reminder that we will be processing the mail ballots as they come through today and then reporting those on our website, those updated numbers at 5 p.m. both today and tomorrow. So as those get processed, remember the law says that ballots are, as long as they're postmarked for election day or sooner and received by Friday, they are eligible to be counted. So that's what we'll be doing today and tomorrow. Just number-wise, I wanted to give you just some updated numbers. We actually had 616 advanced ballots that were counted yesterday. So those updated numbers then were put on our website yesterday at around 5 p.m. We actually had more voters that voted early through advanced mail and early voting in the office than we did election day. Very close, nearly 50%, but kind of an unusual statistic. I also wanted to just kind of remind everybody, you know, the people that work on election day are not full-time employees. They are basically volunteers that get a small stipend for their service. And I think under the circumstances did very excellent work. I really have a lot of respect for the people who've helped us. We have a lot of new people who are interested in the process, so we're excited to get them into the process, get the training done, and get them some hands-on experience with how elections work. We actually had more election workers, I think, for the first time than we've ever had, than we could actually place on election day. So excited to see that level of interest. I do want to talk just briefly, too, about election night. A couple of things I want to talk about related to, it took us a little extra time that I would rather have been a little quicker on. One of the things that we probably need to visit with commissioners in the future about is considering purchasing a couple of additional workstations. Our systems for reporting were really not designed to deal with the approach that we're currently having to use for mail ballots and advanced ballots, and we see those kinds of numbers We probably will need to consider a couple of additional workstations so that that initial upload can move a little quicker. It really wasn't designed with that in mind, so we'll probably have a conversation with you later about considering an additional purchase related to that system so that those uploads can occur a little bit quicker. Additionally, we had a couple of election judges that were trying to be efficient and thought they were being helpful as it relates to a couple of unused tabulation machines at the polling place. Our software actually requires us to upload those sticks even if they contain no votes. So we had to kind of back off for a minute and reassess where were they, make sure we had some people get back out to those 2 polling places on election day, unlock the church, get back in there, and actually finish running out the accounting for those 2 specific machines. So that cost us a little bit of time on election night. But I just wanted you to know that. I wanted you to understand I'm very cautious as it relates to accounting for everything, and so it cost us probably a total of 60 minutes on election night. We think that we can actually kind of make it very clear to people in the future that we need to actually be a lot more careful on that as it relates to making sure that every one of those media sticks that have a copy of every ballot on them get returned to the office. And in this case, it turned out there was nothing on there, but we really don't like to take chances on wondering about that. So just wanted you to have an update from me personally about that and see if you have any questions on that. Additionally, I want to thank, again, all the people that have helped us so much in making this successful. Nelson Castile, I can tell you, an emergency service has personally saved our bacon multiple times in this election season. As has Dusty and Aaron Mahan, Scott Steele, Scott Garcia, all of them have really spent a lot of time helping us get traffic control and cones and making sure that the parking lot was working well. And I had a lot of feedback from the public. They really appreciated the ability to drop those ballots off at that location. So I wanted to let you know I think that worked well, but I really appreciated the amount of time and effort that they helped us with getting that accomplished. Additionally, you know, we appreciate all of the other locations throughout the county that were willing to be drop points. They didn't have to do it, but it was a public service, and we had a number of businesses and locations that were willing to do that. 94 polling places, again, it's true public service to offer your location as a polling place. The county pays them $50. There's no doubt in my mind that that does not cover the costs of what it actually takes to do that. So a big thank you to all the churches, schools, and locations throughout the county that have been a part of that. Just quick stats. Foot traffic through the office ended up being 19,435. So we did additional cleaning every night that we really didn't plan to do, but we thought it was important to do. Our mail ballot totals as of the 4th came to a total of 23,592. So, you know, significant numbers. It's taken a lot of staff time and effort to get those done, but I just wanted to give you some numbers and some update and process. Additionally, we'll be having the canvass on the 16th, so we've got several days yet to actually reach out to voters, try to help them solve their problems with any provisionals that may exist. But that's kind of where we're at in the process. I would be happy to answer any questions. If you have any comments, thoughts, I'd be happy to try to respond to those.
I'd just like to thank you and your staff. I don't think the general public has any idea what it takes to run 94 polls. That's an amazing job of coordination and hard work, and I know you've spent a lot of late hours down at the office getting ready for all this. I also like to thank emergency management for your role in all this. But you know, I've been through a number of elections now, and I never hear of any problems, and that's a good thing. And so, keep up the good work.
Amazing.
Yeah, also, again, thank you. Thank you to all the poll workers, to the voting sites, the polling places. I was in there on election day, and it was busier than a beehive in there. It was pretty wild. As I don't think I've ever been in your office on election day before, so it's quite a sight to see. So appreciate all your hard work. I hope that moving forward, we can look at kind of the lessons learned from this election and make sure that if we anticipate the advanced voting to be such a significant share of the votes cast, that, maybe we need to modify some of the things that we're doing. I did have one question about the provisional ballots. Are we seeing an increase or a decrease in those with all the advanced voting?
Actually, I'm glad you mentioned that. I meant to talk about that briefly. We actually have fewer provisional ballots this year than we did in the 2016 presidential, which I think would be probably similar turnout, similar kind of election. So I believe the number was 22,159, if I remember correctly. But I think it was a couple hundred higher than that, if I remember correctly, in 2016. So we're actually seeing a little bit of a decrease. I do expect that that advanced ballots will be a significant portion. There were a number of people that came through the office that wanted to vote in person rather than by mail, and of course, as long as we can verify that we only received one ballot, then it shouldn't be a problem. But that will be a significant piece of that, I have no doubt.
Thank you.
Andrew, I know that one of the questions that I had, and as well as it's been posed to me, when we went from having the report at 8:15 or so of our advance votes, and then nothing until after 10:30 for the final result, why would we not be able to kind of have a process or as we go release that we might see in other jurisdictions or as we've seen in the past?
One of the things that we are required to do, and this is kind of a newer thing as well, is to actually update the Secretary of State's office at the same time as we're releasing those results. And if we don't have a couple of sticks, which is really what created that particular issue, a couple of those USB sticks on hand, then we really can't do that. And so what we actually ended up doing was just go ahead and reporting everything at the end rather than trying to break it up like we normally do. So because of the additional accounting issues, not only with just making sure that we knew what was there and what was on it, but the timing of that, we actually really didn't lose a lot of time because we actually continued uploading sticks. And I know that creates some angst among candidates. I'm well aware of that. And I appreciate that, and we'll work on that going forward. But because of that additional reporting to the Secretary of State and having to give the number of precincts and those specific data points and not being able to nail those down quickly enough, it was actually quicker and more efficient to go ahead and just continue loading and then give out one report at the end.
And I appreciate that we have the final result within 3 hours as opposed to 3 days that we're encountering on other areas of the country. So,
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Parks and Rec, Shirley. Commissioner Mays, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Nothing from me.
Mr. Cook?
Nothing other than just thank you for the work of the elections office. And again, a lot of hard work went into that, and it really does. It's volunteers, as we see through a lot of our county activities, as we rely on volunteers, and we just couldn't get done what we need to get done without that help, and so thank you.
All right, and I have nothing to add. What's next?
Item 6, executive session.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session for a period not to exceed 40 minutes for the following reasons. To discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel, it'll be 20 minutes. And for consultation with an attorney for the public body or agency, which would be deemed privileged in an attorney-client relationship, not to exceed 20 minutes, and no action is expected. We'll start that in about 10 minutes, probably.
It's entirely up to you. If you want to start, if you want to go try to stride in, it's up to you. Whatever you want to do.
I'm sorry, I can't.
Whatever you want to do. If you want to go in right now, it's fine.
I thought we could sign things here and you guys could get out.
Okay, that's fine. So you'll go in.
Or we could go in now. It doesn't matter.
At 10:01, you'll go in then?
Okay, let's do that.
That'll be good. Okay.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Okay, we're back in session. No action is taken at this time, so we're adjourned. Have a good day.
Wonderful.
Mayor Blasey.